So today is sort of our internal kickoff, which is bringing together all the new and returning community members of the Berkman Center to sort of meet each other and start talking about core issues of interest and kind of get things rolling for the fall.
Well, today was our second practice group meeting. I was helping to facilitate the Internet Governance Practice Group. It's one of two practice groups that we're piloting here. They have several purposes, but one set of purposes are internal, one are external. The internal purposes are that we have such a great community of people at Berkman, fellows, staff, affiliates, faculty, who often feel like they don't get to talk outside of the groups that they're in about topical areas that are of importance to them. So we've tried to create, or we're piloting these practice groups, which will give an opportunity for people who are interested in, say, internet governance to come and talk with staff and faculty and fellows all about that rather still broad set of topics, but that will give an opportunity to discuss something in a focused way. That's sort of the internal job of the practice groups. The external job is that the Berkman Center does so many things that sometimes it's hard to know, what are the priorities of the Berkman Center? And so by identifying practice groups, it helps provide a little bit of structure that's apparent from the outside to say, oh yeah, there are people at the Berkman Center who are working on internet health, they're working on internet governance, and hopefully if the practice groups are a success, we'll have anywhere from 6 to 8 more practice groups that will sort of help define some of the key thematic areas of work at the Berkman Center.
So I'm running the Internet Health Practice Group, which is one of two pilot practice groups. And this group is focused on the health of the internet, which is not only sort of internet freedom and censorship and that sort of thing, but also the health of the actual physical network, how quickly your internet speeds are, sort of how much it costs to get online, and then all the way through what information you can access and then what you're doing once you kind of jump all those hurdles. So the practice group this morning was talking about a project that is trying to automatically test what sites are blocked in which places, and the way that they do that is they sort of test in the background of websites. So a user will visit a website that has this project's code installed, and without necessarily being aware of it, that site will then go and attempt to access a bunch of other sites, and then will send information about what's available and what's not available back to the project's founders. And so we were kind of looking into the ethics of that and whether we need to inform users that their browsers are then testing these sites in the background, whether we need to get some sort of consent from them. And that kind of spun out into a larger discussion of the ethics of this sort of new mashup of social science research and internet research and computer science. We had a big discussion about that.
There were about 6 or 7 different breakout groups where people self-selected into topics that they were passionate about. One of those breakout groups was privacy, and there we were thinking about some of the key themes that we're interested in and seeing where they connect among the people who showed up so that we could figure out where are the areas that we sort of jointly agree are interesting that we want to explore over the next year. And then we even thought about some potential outputs. For instance, thinking about the tension between free speech and privacy, particularly when it comes to things like revenge porn, and so trying to imagine what kind of events or discussions that we could have that could help us address that sort of complicated tension.
I think Berkman sometimes can be a little intimidating to people who are new. It definitely was intimidating to me when I first started. You see these big names that you hear on NPR and read in New York Times all the time, and it's great to sort of get to talk to those people one-on-one and realize that the center is really about community, and that community is pretty flat. Almost everyone is very accessible, and so getting a chance to kind of rub elbows with Jay-Z in the lunch line and chat with Charlie about his new MOOC kind of brings everything down to earth and makes everything feel a little more comfortable and communal, which is, I think, one of the big goals of the Berkman Center.
The fellows and community get to define so much of the Berkman Center, but it's still a research institution at a university that's still driven by some amazing faculty like Jonathan and Charlie and whereas Gasser, who's both the executive director and a member of the faculty, and so it's great for them to show up and be interested in the issues that are percolating from the bottom up, but also to explain what their priorities are for the coming year. And hopefully somewhere in the middle between the things that the community organically wants to do and the things that the faculty and the leadership of the Berkman Center want to do, hopefully somewhere in the middle something magical happens and great stuff gets produced.